The Ukraine war and China's threats to invade Taiwan are the most common military-oriented topics, but the strategic arms race often goes unnoticed behind the headlines. China is on a mission to greatly increase the number of nuclear missile silos in their western regions and increase their strategic nuclear capability. The Chinese had 200 nuclear weapons in 2019 and are on track to have more than 1,000 nuclear weapons by 2030. Russia is also modernizing its Soviet-era delivery systems and adding new capabilities in an attempt to defeat anti-ballistic missile systems. The United States is updating all aspects of its nuclear triad at the same time. Anti-nuclear protests in the 1970s and 1980s followed the last significant improvements the U.S. made in its strategic nuclear forces, and these protests spread throughout the United States and Western Europe, particularly in West Germany. The Japanese anti-nuclear weapons stance has largely garnered popular support throughout Japan since 1945 and is indisputable for obvious reasons. The U.S. currently has a stockpile of 3,750 warheads as part of a three-legged stool called the nuclear triad. The first leg of the nuclear triad is the land-based part, which consists of intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. The U.S. ICBM force is considered the most powerful, longest range, and most accurate weapon in the nuclear triad. The Sentinel ICBM will replace the remaining Minuteman IIIs, which are approaching 60 years of deployed service. The U.S. strategic bombers form the second part of the strategic triad, allowing military and political leaders to recall an initiated nuclear attack before the release of nuclear weapons. The strategic bomber force comprises 46 nuclear-capable B-52H Stratofortress bombers and 19 B-2A Spirit stealth bombers. By the time they retire, the U.S. expects the B-52H to continue flying into the 2040s, ensuring 90 years of active service in the U.S. arsenal. The B-52H and B-2A bombers have different capabilities, but both can fly extended ranges across continents. The B-52EH is expected to serve as a delivery platform for standoff weapons like air-launched conventional or nuclear-armed cruise missiles, while the B-2A employs a blend of stealth design and advanced sensor capabilities, allowing it to evade radar detection and penetrate deep into potential enemy territory. The B-21 Raider, a replacement bomber, is in advanced development by the Defense Department and is expected to replace 169 current U.S. strategic bombers. The 100 B-21 Raiders will replace 169 current U.S. strategic bombers, significantly reducing the U.S.'s heavy bomber capability. However, since the B-1B Lancers are not nuclear capable, the number of nuclear-capable strategic bombers will increase by 35 planes, or 54%. The production line is expected to run for 10 years, resulting in later productions with technology improvements, and the option to purchase replacement bombers if any are lost before the end of the expected 10-year production run. The U.S. Navy's SSBN, or Ballistic Missile Nuclear Submarines, is the last part of the strategic triad. The Ohio-class submarines patrol deep underwater for months at a time, armed with 20 submarine-launched ballistic missiles, SLBMs. The Columbia-class will replace the Ohio-class, with the construction of the USS District of Columbia already underway and expected completion in 2030. The Columbia-class has a 42-year lifespan of its nuclear reactor, reducing the operating cost of the U.S. SLBM fleet. Additionally, reducing the number of missile tubes will also reduce the Columbia-class's operating cost. The entire aging U.S. nuclear triad has designated replacements and is scheduled to be replaced due to the significant investment the U.S. has dedicated to maintaining and upgrading its old components. The 2030s will be a busy time for new weapons with incremental strategic nuclear upgrades, just as experienced in the 1980s, but with few to no expected protests and reflects the state of the current world.